Chosen one. This is the week of your liberation. Wait for what will happen. This is the week the chains begin to fall. This is not just another 7-day stretch on a calendar. It is a divine appointment etched into the timeline of your destiny. The vibrations of heaven are shifting toward you. The locks that held your progress hostage are rusting in the presence of divine fire. This is your moment to breathe, to rise, and to walk forward into the life that was always meant to be yours. You've been faithful, and now the door is opening. Not because of human timing, but because divine timing has declared, liberation begins now. Watch this message until the very end, and write your warmest wishes in the comments, along with the number 777. This is the week of releasing your heart's desires into the air, activating the universe with your bold expectancy, and welcoming the breakthrough you've long awaited. The week of liberation has been set. Now is your moment to declare what your spirit has been whispering in silence for years. Now, chosen one, like this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. You know this already in your spirit. You've felt a strange shift, an invisible wind blowing through the corridors of your thoughts, nudging you to expect something. Maybe you haven't known what that something is, but you could feel the stir. That stirring was not random. It was the signal from eternity that something in your life is about to be rewritten. Something that once caged you is about to let you go. Not by force, but by divine permission. This is a week of permission. Permission for your soul to breathe again. Permission for your mind to be at ease. Permission for your spirit to rise out of the ashes and start walking boldly toward what you were born to receive. You don't have to explain the heaviness of your past. You don't have to defend why you stayed quiet when others shouted. You don't even need to justify your waiting. All of it was part of the preparation. The divine realm was watching, and now they've said, enough delay. Let the liberation begin. The things that tried to delay you no longer have jurisdiction over your life. The opinions that tried to keep you stuck no longer have authority. The circumstances that were beyond your control are now being reordered in your favor. You are not behind. You were being hidden. You were not forgotten. You were being preserved. And now, just like the pressure builds before a dam breaks, the force of your freedom is building behind the scenes, getting ready to explode through every wall that tried to confine your growth. This is not a gentle shift. This is a bold, unapologetic correction of spiritual injustice. The resistance that came against you wasn't just about slowing you down. It was about trying to keep you from knowing the truth of who you are. But the truth cannot be buried forever. Eventually, it rises. And now, it's your truth that's coming to the surface. The truth that you are meant for more. The truth that your voice has value. The truth that your presence shifts the atmosphere. You have endured what would have broken others. You've sat in silence while storms raged through your mind. You've smiled while privately managing a storm that no one saw coming. But in this sacred week, there is a light breaking through. A divine order is being released, not because of coincidence, but because your name has been called in spiritual realms. This is your week. This is your moment. The week of liberation is not a metaphor. It is a promise in motion. The tension you feel is the final tug before the snap. The frustration you've been carrying is the buildup before the freedom. Don't misinterpret the discomfort. It's not destruction. It's delivery. When a shift this big is coming, the spiritual realm shakes. That's why you've felt unsettled. That's why you've been on edge. But hold on. Don't collapse now. Because the breakthrough needs your presence to complete its work. You're not the person you were a year ago, and certainly not the person others tried to reduce you to. You've been reshaped, reborn in the quiet places. You've been refined in fire. And now, that refined version of you is about to stand up in the world. They won't recognize you, not because you've changed your appearance, but because the old limitations no longer apply to the new you. You're no longer restricted by who you used to be. Your liberation comes with a new identity, and that identity walks with power. There's a spiritual announcement happening. It doesn't need to be heard by the crowd. It only needs to be received by you. The heavens are releasing strategies, alignments, and breakthroughs designed specifically for you. They're not for public consumption. They're for personal elevation. These are not signs for everybody. They are signs for the chosen one. And when they arrive, they will not ask for permission to interrupt your life. They will come fast. They will come hard. And they will carry you into the next phase of your purpose. Don't be surprised if people begin to shift around you. When your spirit starts to break free, some things and some people will no longer feel right. Don't fight the disconnection. Your liberation may require separation, and that's okay. This isn't about abandonment. It's about alignment. It's about being in the right frequency so the right doors open. When freedom arrives, it doesn't ask who wants to stay. It invites only those who can rise with you. You'll notice strange synchronicities. Conversations will start to reflect what you've been dreaming. Numbers, symbols, dreams, they will all begin to confirm the breakthrough. You'll hear phrases that feel like echoes from your own spirit. You'll sense a divine presence walking with you in the smallest details. That's how liberation reveals itself. Not with fireworks, but with undeniable patterns. This is heaven's way of saying, yes, you're walking in the right direction. Every setback that tried to suffocate your fire is now fuel for your flight. Every no is about to be replaced by a now. This is not about recovery. It's about resurrection. Your vision is about to be revived. Your hope is about to be reawakened. What you thought was too late is about to show up right on time. And when it does, it will not apologize for the delay. It will arrive with force, with favor, and with finality. You are not just entering a new season, you are entering a new system. The old cycles that used to repeat are being dismantled. The same battles will not find you here. The old fears will not follow you into this new dimension. That's why it's important to release what's behind you without regret. The chains don't break if you keep dragging them. You must allow yourself to fully let go of what was, so you can fully embrace what is now. This is not a false hope. This is not a motivational illusion. This is a spiritual alert. Your liberation is encoded into this week. And if you will allow yourself to believe again, if you will allow yourself to expect again, you will see it manifest. You will feel the air around you change. You will notice the peace in your body. You will walk differently, speak differently, think differently. That's not imagination. That's transformation. You didn't go through all you've gone through just to survive. You were being sculpted, formed, shaped for a moment like this. This isn't just a week on the calendar. This is your personal exodus, and it doesn't require a ceremony to begin. It begins the moment you decide you're done living beneath your calling. It begins when you stop asking for permission to rise. It begins now. Liberation is not always loud. Sometimes it arrives like a whisper in your spirit, a sudden knowing that what once held you can no longer contain you. That knowing is now rising inside you. You are not imagining things when you feel that your old life is no longer a match for who you're becoming. You are not being dramatic when you feel called to disconnect from what once comforted you. The breaking away is necessary, because you are not just being freed, you are being promoted. There are moments when the soul outgrows its surroundings, when your internal world begins to shift. The external world feels like it's closing in, but that's not confinement. That's confirmation. Your inner growth has created a mismatch. That tension is your invitation to exit what no longer aligns. It's proof that you're on the threshold of expansion. Don't try to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that were designed for your past version. That version has served its time. Now, something larger, bolder, more divine is calling you forward. The world doesn't need a version of you diluted by fear or manipulated by survival. The world needs you in your fullness. And this week is not just about breaking chains. It's about reclaiming the version of you that was never meant to be caged. The authentic you, the radiant you, the wildly powerful you who remembers your calling, your vision, your inheritance. Liberation doesn't always mean movement in the physical. It starts as a mindset. Before you ever leave a place, you leave a pattern. This is the week your patterns are shifting. No longer will you react from pain, people-pleasing, or fear of rejection. No longer will you carry the weight of false obligations. This week, you realize you are not bound to what wounded you. You are not tied to the roles you were forced to play. You are being given a new spiritual script, one written in the ink of truth and permission. The universe is aligning like a gate unlocking, and you are standing before a path you could not access before. The invisible resistance that held you back is being lifted. Things that were stuck are starting to move. Delays are being dissolved. Opportunities that were circling you are beginning to land. Not because you forced it, but because the timing is right. The internal work you've done has summoned the external shift. The energetic match is now complete. You were not forgotten in your waiting season. You were being witnessed. Every act of patience, every moment you chose peace instead of revenge, every time you believed when logic said, "Give up," it was noted. And now, the universe is responding. The spiritual realm is not random. It's calculated, intentional, and beautifully aligned with your growth. And now, it's sending signals of your readiness. You have passed the silent test. Liberation is the reward. And no, it won't make sense to everyone. Some will question your peace. Some will resent your joy. But don't dim your light to make others feel comfortable in their darkness. Your rising is not an offense, it's a reflection. And some people can't handle what they see when your freedom becomes a mirror. But you're not responsible for their discomfort. You're responsible for honoring the breakthrough you've earned. Your aura is shifting. Your energy is being recalibrated. You're not walking into rooms the same way. Even if you say nothing, you are being felt on a different frequency. And it's not ego, it's emergence. When you've broken through long-standing barriers, your presence carries a resonance of victory. You don't need to announce it. The air around you will speak for you. This is why you've been tested in isolation. This is why your silent battles were so heavy. Because heaven was preparing to give you something that only the matured version of you could carry. You can't access liberation if you're still loyal to limitation. And now that you've proven your loyalty to the truth of who you are, the gates are opening. What was once locked away is now within reach. Pay attention to what you're drawn to this week. Certain ideas, opportunities, and people will suddenly pull on your spirit. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. You'll feel compelled to act, to move, to say yes where you once said not yet. Don't overthink it. Your soul knows. Trust the rhythm of this unfolding. It's not chaos. It's choreography. Everything that tried to confuse you is now being clarified. The fog is lifting. The clarity you prayed for is arriving not in words, but in signs, in confirmation, in the undeniable knowing that this is the moment you were prepared for. You won't need to convince anyone. You won't need to defend your decisions. Your results will speak for themselves. Your freedom will be your proof. In this new space, you'll begin to reclaim your time, not just in hours and days, but in the deeper sense of divine timing. You'll realize that nothing was wasted, not even your pain. Every detour was a redirection. Every heartbreak was a doorway. Every breakdown was a breakthrough in disguise. And now, the pieces are forming a picture that reveals this truth. You were always meant to be free. The old contracts, spiritual, emotional, and psychological, are being dissolved. You no longer owe anyone an explanation for why you chose peace. You no longer need to justify your growth to people committed to misunderstanding you. You are free to evolve, to elevate, to expand. This week, Heaven says, move like you're already free. And as you do, the evidence will meet you. There will be moments this week where you're tempted to go back to old cycles, whether it's out of guilt, fear, or comfort. In those moments, remember this: going back to what broke you is not loyalty, it's self-abandonment. You've come too far to betray your own liberation. Say no, even when it shakes your voice. Walk away, even if your knees tremble. This week is not about playing it safe. It's about stepping into sacred territory. And what waits on the other side of your yes? A life that mirrors your truth. A peace that makes no sense. Opportunities that find you without you chasing them. Relationships that honor your worth without needing to be convinced. That's the reward of liberation. You no longer fight to earn love. You radiate it. You no longer chase validation. You embody it. There is no need to be perfect as you step forward. Liberation is messy. It requires you to shed, to cry, to confront, and to release. But it's also the most beautiful kind of becoming. Because you're not creating a new self. You're remembering who you were before the world told you otherwise. And that memory is returning now. In flashes, in dreams, in deep knowing. You may feel emotional this week. Let it come. Every tear is a signal to your soul. We made it. Every emotion is a release of the old energy that no longer has a place in your body. Don't suppress it. Let it wash through you like a final rain before the dawn. The liberation you've asked for is arriving as both fire and water, burning away what needs to go and cleansing what needs to stay. Stay alert to the quiet nudges. You may feel pulled to go places you haven't gone. Speak to people you normally wouldn't. Try things that once scared you. Say yes to what your spirit says yes to. Say no with confidence. The universe is rearranging itself in your favor, and your obedience to that inner guidance is the key to unlocking the floodgates. The pain you endured was not the end of your story. It was the soil. And now, the seeds you planted in tears are ready to bloom. Your harvest is not far. It's right at the edge of this week. You will begin to see the signs before the manifestation. Don't mistake the previews for the full promise. Keep moving forward. Stay open. Stay grounded. The full arrival is near. You are being given authority this week. Authority to walk in rooms differently. Authority to speak without fear. Authority to command your space. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. When you've been validated by heaven, you stop begging for permission from the world. You don't have to over-explain what has already been confirmed in your spirit. And if you feel lonely on this path, remember this: liberation isn't always crowded. The higher you go, the quieter it becomes, but it also becomes clearer. You'll hear yourself. You'll hear God. You'll hear the truth that was once buried beneath everyone else's expectations. And in that silence, you'll realize freedom was never outside of you. It was always in you, waiting to be activated. This is the week it happens. Chosen one, this is not only a week of release, it is a week of revelation. Now that the spiritual chains are breaking, clarity begins to rush in. Clarity about who you are, what you're here to do, and where you're being called to go. And the truth is, this revelation won't always be comfortable. Because sometimes, the truth liberates by first disturbing the illusions that kept you small. And when truth rises, everything built on falsehood begins to collapse. You're going to feel things crumble. But don't be afraid. Let it fall. What is falling was never meant to be permanent. The support systems you depended on that weren't rooted in truth must go. The relationships that echoed safety but were built on control must fade. The self-images you wore like armor are being stripped off, not to leave you exposed, but to leave you real. There is no going back to the version of you that was acceptable to everyone but unacceptable to your soul. That person is done. That performance has ended. You no longer owe anyone a watered-down version of yourself just to keep their comfort intact. This week is your exit from approval addiction. You will no longer dance for applause. You will walk in purpose, even if it means walking alone. Because you are not alone. Every step you take in authenticity summons forces that are older and wiser than you can comprehend. Every bold choice sends a signal through the fabric of the unseen.